You might be wondering to yourself, hey Joe, world's tallest docent, sure seems to be a lot of drawbridges in Chicago. You are correct, what a brilliant observation. There are 37 operational drawbridges, most in the country, second in the world to Amsterdam. And they all look very similar, right? Same color paint, same kind of look. But keep an eye out for the bridge houses. Every bridge in Chicago has its own unique bridge house. Some are similar in style, but they have their own unique design. Like, check out the Kinsey Street Bridge. Kind of looks like this cute little summer cottage, tiny home you might find on the internet. You should totally Airbnb this thing. I'd spend the night in here. And then straight ahead where the boats are, that's the Lake Street Bridge. Their bridge houses look more like what I expected. They could be on the side of a castle. And then here at the Carroll Avenue Railroad Drawbridge, they have a bridge house I can only describe as serial killer shed. That structure is over 100 years old. It's only been out of commission about 20 years, but you can see there's no tracks leading up to it anymore. The city operates it once a year so they can claim the status as active, and they made it a landmark in 2007, which is great, but for a landmark, it needs a little loving, a little coat of paint, a little refresh, I think, for the Carroll Avenue Bridge. Right in front of us is 150 North Riverside. Looks like a pretty standard contextualism building for what we've been seeing so far, but when you get a chance, take a look at the base of the building. That building almost comes down to a point. It looks like somebody stuck a pencil in the ground. That seems like a bad idea for a skyscraper. Here's what's going on there. They had two really big challenges with 150 North Riverside. They couldn't build the foundation out all the way to the left to the river's edge because there's actually a law in Chicago. You have to allow for 30 feet of public access so that people can enjoy the river. So they couldn't build out that way. And then on the right-hand side here, you can tell they built something, but it's just a glass atrium. It doesn't go below street level. Because if you cut down on that side, you hit railroad tracks, and that makes Amtrak angry. So they only had this patch of land that's 39 feet across, maybe a couple of our boats worth of surface area, and developers are like, well, we can't build a building here, and architects are like, hold my beer. What's going on is a lot of concrete. See a big old concrete wall right there, right? Underneath the building, they have what's called a series of caissons. Caissons are 12-foot in diameter steel tubes filled with concrete. They go 160 feet all the way down into the bedrock. Bedrock's really far down around here. This all used to be marshland. But that building is rock solid, and they've won awards for that innovative Y-shaped design. Now, when architects and engineers build a tall building, they know they're going to have to deal with a thing called sway. Wind will hit the building, and the building will move around a bit. They just want to reduce the effects. So inside this building near the top, we can't see it, but up there, inside, they have what's called inertial slush dampers. Inertial slush dampers. What that means, there's 160,000 gallons of water up there. And that water's in 12 big old vats. And the wind hits the building, and the water in those vats slushes in a counter movement, and that counter movement calms the building down. Most new skyscrapers have inertial slush dampers. Now, you may have noticed these contextualism buildings have reflective windows. You can see other buildings reflected in them. You can see the sky reflected in them. Because of this innovative Y-shaped design, they're able to reflect the river. Let me look first to make sure the sun's not going to blind you. I'll take the hit. Oh, we're good. We're good. You can see our boat reflected in the side of the building. So if you want to wave to yourself or take a selfie, that's us right there. Does this building make me look fat? Skyscrapers add 10 pounds, by the way. The same architects that designed this building here also designed the Bank of America Tower coming up here on the left. If you bank with Bank of America, that's where your late charges went, that building right there. Bank of America building opened in 2020, back in the good old days of the raging pandemic. They incorporated some technology because of that. That entire building is a very high-end, sophisticated air filtration system. Public use stores have microbial surfaces, so no one's spreading any germs if they touch a door. And the elevators are touchless. You can actually summon the elevator with your phone and tell them what floor you want to go to. And you see how they know that 30-foot of public access law, they get a walkway. Now, they wanted it to be much lower. The city insisted it at least be that high. And that's why we have these giant robot mechanical chicken feet. These are load-bearing chicken feet. They're holding up the side of the building. Straight ahead, we're going into a bit of a canyon. We have an Art Deco canyon on our tour. We have two buildings right across from one another that opened in 1929. The building coming up on the right is the Chicago Daily News building, classic Art Deco, those strong vertical lines, limestone. Now in 1929, they could have built all the way to the river's edge. No law against it back then. They were very thoughtful. They thought, hey, somebody might want to go for a walk, eat lunch outside, go look at the river. They built this lovely Art Deco plaza. It's really nice up there. They actually some lovely artwork etched into the limestone. And that's open to the public. You can check that out anytime you like, their Art Deco plaza. Completing the canyon, as it says on the side, Civic Opera Building. It says building because they used the original Latin alphabet, which doesn't have a U, so they stuck a V there. But look up, the entire building is in the shape of a throne. You see the arms of the throne on the left and the right, long, strong back to the building filled with offices. And then right here above the opera stage, you can have a seat, relax. Put your feet in the water. Listen to the opera through your bottom. Both buildings opened in 1929, full of dreams, hopes, ambition. Anybody know what happened in America in 1929?
Crash.
Stock market crash. We went into the Great Depression. After that, World War II. So for a long stretch, we weren't building skyscrapers. Nobody had the money or the resources. Late 50s, early 60s, we start building again cautiously. Over here on the right, we have Gateway 1 and Gateway 2. They're twinsies, built in the 60s. And remember our buddy Mies van der Rohe, careful son, that's Blackbox Modernism again. His whole philosophy was less is more. So zero ornamentation on the outside, all the money's on the inside. Exact opposite of Art Deco, but this was an inexpensive way to build a skyscraper. And at this point, architects were children of the Depression, so they knew the value of stretching a dollar. 1970s rolled around and architects were like, oh my gosh, I did not become an architect to draw the same box over and over and over again. We got to shake things up. We got to break some rules. Let our hair down. Get our creative freak on. So in the 1970s, they came up with white black boxes. That's Gateway 3. They call it international style, but they're not fooling us. It's the same thing, different color, same thing, different color. Their claim with it being international is that you could take that building and place it in any city around the world, and it would fit right in, because it's so boring and generic. Just a big old Lego brick you can pick up and move around. See, trains underneath the building. There's a metro train right there. 1980s rolled around. Architects were like, no, really, we mean it this time. And that's when they moved away from Blackbox Modernism and started to embrace Contextualism. So coming up on the right, we have a green reflective building. Two clues we have Contextualism going on. You can actually see Gateway 3 reflected in the side of Gateway 4. The windows are tinted green because we have a green river. You'll notice there's a ripple effect on the side of the building. That's to emulate the surface of the water. Big tells the shape. Instead of it being a big boring box, they've got a curve built right into the side of the building, again playing off the shape of the river. So 1980s were full-on Contextualism, Postmodernism. This little squat ex-bracing building in between, I love this building. When it opened, it was a commodities exchange. It is no longer that. Now it is a gym right next to a bakery. Woo! That's brilliant. Work out, get fat, work out, get fat, work out, get fat. Oh, they're taking a before and after picture right now. Building on the left, we never talked about much. In 2014, the owners spent $800,000 to put this artwork on the side of the building. Goes from the river to the roof. If it looks like a map, good on. It is a map. Let's see how the sun's going to mess with us over here. I don't think so. When you get in front of the bridge, look up near the top of the map. You can see Wolf Point, where we were earlier. It's a map of the river. And that orange block near the center is You Are Here. It's an $800,000 You Are Here map that only we can see. And we know where we are. Building on the corner on the right over here, bit of a celebrity. If you like the Batman movies, that was Gotham City Bank in the film The Dark Knight. That's the movie that Heath Ledger as the Joker robs. He robs that bank, comes out of there in a school bus full of cash. That entire building in actuality, though, was the world's largest post office. It opened in 1920, and it was made even bigger in 1930. Chicago needed the world's largest post office because for a long period of time, we were the mail order catalog capital of the world, mainly because the Sears department stores and Montgomery Ward. In the 90s, a little thing called the internet came along. You might have heard about it. They built a smaller, more modern post office next door. This building sat empty for a couple decades. We were really worried. Nobody wanted to buy it because it was so big. We didn't want to tear it down. Fortunately, in 2016, some investors took a big risk. They put $800 million into renovating this building. Largest renovation project in America. But they did a wonderful job. Look how beautiful this building is. They maintained the Art Deco ornamentation on the inside. Oh, careful with the sun. There are several beautiful Art Deco event spaces in there. They converted the entire roof into a 3.5-acre urban park called the Meadow. Largest urban park in Chicago. It's our noisiest bridge coming up, by the way. The old post office is now mostly offices. Get this, they're at 94% capacity. 94%, that's crazy numbers anytime. Now, I love this building, but what I don't like about it is that the only place that's open to the public is